getting that little bit closer, getting to skip that first playoffs day, you learn a lot from those sort of moments. I think this is a great opportunity for them, and they're already in a decent spot in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking that maybe on the other side, if KC were to win BBL on that one match away from Toronto, I also buy that narrative, BBL to an international event. But that takes us to the schedule for today, as you're seeing Team Liquid versus KC, and then afterwards, one of the best matches, if not the best match of the season, Fnatic and Team Heretics to close everything out. So before we move on to Team Liquid versus Karmine Corp, we need to give you some update on this as well. The first map that was played on last Friday, Split, which was Team Liquid's choice, will count. And the match will resume with a 1-0 score to Team Liquid. But due to the extended preparation time between Map 1 and the rest of the series, League officials have decided to restart the map veto process, with Team Liquid's Map 1 selection skipped and Split already removed from the pool, and also given them the win. So this ensures that no team gains a preparation advantage from the previously guaranteed map picks, while maintaining the competitive spirit of the veto process, where a level of uncertainty around the maps, bans, and selections is essential for both of the teams. So yes, we will restart it from the beginning, right? It will get those first 2 bans. The map selection for Team Liquid has to be Split because they have already won it. But from then on, KC can decide whatever they want to pick.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, in most series, I would be like, oh, we're going to see some crazy counters, or we're going to see teams actually like trying to move the veto if they have like deeper map pools. But I think with these 2 teams, there's a very strong chance that we end up in the same place. Because I'll tell you this for free. There are very few days where me and Mitch come into the studio and go, oh, how did you predict the veto? And we both have almost exactly the same thing. But with this series, we did.
You did?
And I think that both teams have a strong map they want to play. In Liquid's case, it was Split, which I think most people expected them to win. And then the next map was Icebox. So I think that's where we will end up. But hey, you never know. Maybe someone's done some crazy prep over the last few days.
Would you, Ulises, would you change something if you were KC?
I don't think so. I mean, you have a strong Icebox where you could be trying to get the first map. And obviously, if you're on the Team Liquid side, are you going to ban it? I don't think so. You're getting on another map that is going to be your perma open, and there is no chance for it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but we shall see, because we will get there eventually. So let's break this down pound by pound, right? We already are saying the Team Liquid has this 1-0 lead. Let's look at the individuals. I think that we should start by Duelist, Camo. I think that his improvement has been massive, wouldn't you say, Camo?
Yeah, well, it's been a weird one, because I think you go back to the end of last year where he was on Koi. Koi was kind of like, I want to say washed up at that point, like it was not looking good for them, but he was still playing very well individually. Coming into Liquid, I think we saw quieter performances, not the guy that we saw last year who was almost like a big fish, small pond sort of scenario. He moved into a team with more stars. The last few weeks he's been fantastic. Like I think he's been up there in the league. I think maybe you could argue the likes of Miniboo is slightly better, but I think he's been really good in the system. He's picked up other agents like Waylay and made them look really good. So I think that coming into this series, he has to be a highlight, because the guy's been a standout.
Would you agree?
I agree, obviously. I mean, Camo's been playing properly on Team Liquid, and he's been playing also on that Waylay that you were mentioning. And I was kind of surprised. He's playing on a huge level this year.
I want to see, now that you mentioned Miniboo, I really want to see the Team Liquid versus Team Heretics. Maybe we get that on players. So let's look at the other side, because, Team Liquid has already half of the work done for this best of 3. What can we expect, or who should we look at on the side of KC, Ulises?
My side is going to be on the Egyptian player. I have to look at Abed. Abed is amazing. And, I mean, normally you can talk about Abed and you're going to talk about his aim performance, his individual skills. But if you have to talk about his Tejo, it's something impressive. He's been playing so good on Tejo with a bunch of agility that is making the easy way for his team to get a win.
Yeah, for sure. I think also just bringing back some old favorites like a Phoenix when they were playing on Haven. I think that the guy individually, as you mentioned, is stellar. Like his aim has to be up there with most players in the league. But yeah, showing a little bit more depth within the agent pool. And I think that if they are going to turn this series around, he needs to be on point. There's a few others that I think have had like weaker performances that we'll talk about in a bit, but he's someone that has been solid throughout the season so far.
So who is it that you think has had a weaker performance, or that can be, a little bit on the downside for Casey? I want to know now.
I think Ulysses really wants to talk about this bit.
Okay,
You know, I
Ulysses,
think
then.
this is something. He's the expert here.
I don't want to pinpoint.
Okay,
I don't want to pinpoint any player, but
if you guys do not want to talk about Valorant,
Nah, I will talk about Valorant.
That was
No
an
worries,
elite
no
dodge
worries.
from me.
I will pinpoint to someone. No, I'm not pinpointing to anyone. I cannot pinpoint to anyone when you're talking about someone's performance.
Okay,
but
speak about
there is
weakness from
something that
KC.
is a weakness. And I would like to talk about the lack of a strong lurker. Because if we see on Team Liquid, obviously we talk about the lads. But if we look at Carmine Corp, every single team is already prepared. They know that they're playing like a 4-man. No, it's not like 4. They're pushing us 5. Normally, maybe someone is holding the back, but it's not that they have a strong lurker that is going to be trying to get the space for them and trying to cut any rotation. It's mostly like a team making an entrance and getting into the side and playing a strong crossplane. So I would like to see what is going on today because they're going to be playing on maps. I don't know if they're going to keep the PBO, but if they do, Icebox will be a nice map for them. But I'm worried if they're getting... Third map was Lotus last time?
Yeah.
Yes.
If they get into Lotus, I'm worried.
I think all jokes aside, like I think the level we expected from Elite coming out of BBL last year, like he was their best player, individually was unbelievable. You could use him as an entry at times. His headshot percentage, like normally when we talk headshot percentage, we go, he's got 40% and he has 7 kills. Like it's because they're not killing anyone on the ones they do get headshots. Whereas with Elite, it was never the case. Like he was getting like a crazy amount of just individual ability, and I don't think we've seen that as of recent. I think that obviously it's a squad that has multiple players who can fit his role, and as of right now, he's not close to being one of the best in the league, and I think if you go back to last year, he should be.
And speaking about those roles and speaking about those lurks, on the other side, there is Nats. Maybe one of the reasons why you don't want to lurk is that you might bump into him. And
maybe that's why you don't want to pick Icebox. I get flashbacks every day.
But also, this is another head-to-head that we have to look at. We have Nats on one side with all the experience and now being so good in the IGL position. We see so many speeches from him. But what can we expect from Sadak coming into today with all the nuances that this specific best-of-3 has today, Tom?
It's funny because these two, in my eyes, are polar opposites. You have one guy who goes, I'm IGL, I am Sentinel, I am playing this role. We don't need anyone else to play this role at any point because I am probably one of, if not the best in the whole region. Whereas Sadak is very much a, I need to put my players into positions. I need to fill whatever gap we don't currently have, like be that a secondary controller, initiator. He's even back in the day played some duelist. And I think that coming into the match today, it's going to be more fundamentally important that they have spent the last week and gone, okay, we kind of already knew what we were going to do last week. Now we have to think, okay, are we coming in with further counters? Are we coming in with extra confidence, especially for Sadak when you're talking about we're going in 1-0 down. Like, okay, how do I get my team to a point that they are mentally ready to go first map of the day 1-0 down? Because that's very difficult. Teams start slow, players start slow. Well, you don't have that, like, refresh afterwards. If you lose that first map, you are done and you're 4th seed. So this is going to be a real mental fortitude battle. Whereas for Nats, you go in 1-0 up. Your team played fantastically well, even under whatever conditions there were. And then you go into a map that, okay, you knew was coming, I think. I said, if I could predict the veto, Nats can definitely predict the veto, and so can the coaching staff as well. So I think that it's going to be a tougher task for Sadak, but at the same time, when you talk about influential IGLs, he's probably top 3 in anyone's list.
Yeah, and we're seeing just on the back, we also need to speak about the coaches, because yes, there is a very hard task and a very it's a great weight on the shoulders. For example, if someone like Ember Ulises, we know that from history, he loves a challenge.
No, he loves the challenge, and also I would like to know what's the work they have been doing on this week. Because obviously you can predict the battle and say, okay, Icebox should be there. But what if they swap them up? What if Enk is trying to improve and, well, let's bring something different. Let's try to swap it into something that is not common and trying to make a surprise. Being honest, I won't expect it because Enk is normally just going straight into something and just figuring it out. But maybe there is a chance. And also, Lohan has to be prepared for it. So this week must be something tough for the coaches.
I think the thing for me with Eng will be, and it's something he's done, you go back to Gambit, yes, I used the word Gambit, don't get too excited. He was very good with working with young players, and I think that's going to be the thing today, is getting people in confident, getting people in ready to go off the beat, like I was saying. I think if anybody could do it, it will be him. What I'll say, though, is the coaching staff on the other side, Yatsin and Lohan, I think have been incredible with anti-strats. So you give these guys an extra week focusing specifically on one map, it could be, or that's all they need to do. They win one map, they win. I think that's going to be very difficult, because I think back to them playing Lotus versus Foot, they obliterated them with counter-strats. They built a composition just to pick their opponents apart. Now, I don't think they need to do that because I like the way they play Icebox or whatever map comes up in general, but if they do have a few cheeky ideas, like maybe the guys on the Liquid side can pick them apart.
Yeah, so let's take a look with all of this discussed and all of the head-to-heads that we have at the updated map Vito. Reminder, if you just joined the stream, Team Liquid picks split has already been played with Team Liquid winning it, so the match will resume with the 1-0 score to Team Liquid, but the rest has been completely redone, even the first wave of bans to the picks and the rest, and there is absolutely no surprises, Ulises, and no difference to what we saw last week.
Not even a half change. They didn't even pick the sides differently.
It's just the same. So probably my question right now is what Lohan has been working. Because probably we've seen something prepared. They only have to win one map, and if they predicted that Icebox is going to keep there, because it's the most common map the Carmine Corp is going to be playing, probably they have something special to deal with it.
I mean, also, if you
they can punish.
If you have that, if the veto is going to be redone, you can also like ban the Pearl again. It's not something that you have to worry for, but it is another worry that goes onto Casey's shoulders because they could have been thinking, okay, what if they ban Icebox now? Do we go to Pearl? Have they been preparing something onto them? But Tom, I don't know if you agree with me, but I think that keeping it the same as it was last week, it's clean. I like it.
I think it works for both sides just because you get to a stage of overthinking. If you try and switch the entirety of the veto, then you have to switch the entirety of your agent compositions. You have to gamble on what your opponent's doing in those same switches and same veto, whereas you keep things the same. I think especially for Liquid side, who obviously when you're 1-0 up kind of have a pretty big advantage going into this now. If you were to change things, I think you're much more likely to let things slip away.
And we can see already the players on the stage. They are ready. This is not a video. I promise you this is live. And Icebox will start very, very shortly. We will jump into Agent Select in just a moment. But speaking about compositions, Ulises, do we expect Team Liquid to run the same thing that they run on the one time that they played the map this split against Gentamates?
I mean, seeing how they work on this year, I would like to expect something different.
Something different?
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Tom?
I want to see the Waylay again. Honestly, I think Camo has evolved as a Waylay player over the last few weeks. And actually, okay, we got the Kiko Jet. Now, Kiko Jet back last year was incredible on this map. This was, in my opinion, his best map as a duelist. It does mean that we're going to get the Camo Gecko, which we saw on Fracture, and I didn't particularly enjoy. But they do have a duelist, which they didn't do when they played Fracture. Kiko and Jet, it's going to be huge.
Also, something important is they bring Patitek back to KO. He's really good on KO, but the most important thing is
his best agent, I say.
It's his best agent. And also, it's a need if you're going to play with Gecko on this year. Because if not, there is no chance that you get to plant the spike with the Carnalito, with Wingman. So, probably, I like it. I like this combo.
Yeah, Kiko had a brilliant performance, as you say, like seeing him back on the Jet. We're in for a treat. This composition reminds me a little bit of what Navi was running. We haven't seen a lot of Gecko. I think that actually Navi were the only ones that played it, and it was on this map. Yes, they were playing it with the double controller, but this, you know, adds a little bit more spice. Kiko has already proven that he can play the controller, and it's way more fun to watch him on the Jet. You know what is also very fun? It's Pansy and Hypok.
We'll do our best. But in reality, this is one of the most unique situations we've ever been in, Mike. We've never had this prep for, this considered, this looked into, right? We're going to see what these coaches, what these players could cook up, ready for what is an incredibly important map.
It definitely is, yeah. And I think obviously just to touch on briefly, the fact we're going to Icebox, obviously as expected, as per should have been an expectation previously. I think it's really important here, especially with the composition changes, Lauren.
Bang on. I can't wait for this. One, I liked seeing that change up mentioned by the desk. Kiko there on the Jet. Love it. Absolutely love it. Happy to see it. A good change coming in. I feel like Liquid have come out all guns a-blazing, Mike. This feels like they are absolutely locked in on this. And of course for KC, a very tough mental scenario to focus in on as well, right? That have to hit the start running, right? There is no slow warm-up here.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say, actually, whether or not Serial's going to allow this passage. I'm not sure. Maybe he's expecting 3 members here. Martin's already looking to clear it, though. And actually a Sadak to find it.
Yeah, big awareness on that. Super heads-up work to clear Serial. That's lovely from them. But there's still obviously a lot more to be done, and I kind of like that they've changed up this flank, right? They haven't continued on that pathing.
Yeah, sure.
They've readjusted straight through middle.
You can already see Nats kind of primed, looking towards that direction now, but The focal point here is actually going to be towards Patatech. Got to be careful here, but Sadak will fall. Trade comes through, though.
Yeah, good little trade. Kiko going down, though, is rough. Sugetsu doing wonders to open up these opportunities. Now down to Camo and Nats. And this post plant's not looking so good. Not looking so secure. Maybe feeling some element of safety after getting the plant down with such little contest, but now Nats is under the gun. There's no getting out of this, surely not. 10 HP he's done for. Arvez is there, Diffuse coming in. Casey with a plan in mind. Look, we can talk about Liquid switching up the comp here, Mike, and kind of coming in looking locked and loaded. But Casey, I love that idea of being very aware of the flank being watched, and then not only carrying on in that path thing, Mike, but adjusting back through middle.
Sure, yeah, a very proactive pistol round, and I think that the one thing being here, when you have 3 bodies on such a deep flank, you can clear all these ratty spots. It's not as if there's kind of paranoia from, you know, one person swinging onto several angles at the same time, but after that, you're absolutely right. The reset, focal point comes back towards whether or not there is any pressure kind of building in towards spawn, anybody from Liquid looking to kind of counterbalance that flank, but the bodies are in place for KC.
So far, so good. Round 2 has started as intended. We keep going, and Kiko going to try and lead the pack. Does have the Sheriff, so does Serial, Ghost for Nats. Beyond that, pretty simplistic. This shouldn't be an issue for Casey, and it's not. Very clear-cut answer, because they've already identified what's going on here. Patatech even spotting the player. Maybe a chance there. There is.
That's a big upgrade.
That is huge, but how much can he do with it? Spike is left down pretty far out of hand, and Martine's isolated Serial, so those options start to become very, very small. But maybe Patatech can make something out of it. No. Martine, clear-cut answer. KC up 2-0 right off the rip.
So should be able to grab that. Yeah, Sadak gets hold of the Guardian as well, so no harm, no foul, really, in round 2. Nice attempt from Liquid here to get a little, I guess, weird in round 2. Straight up into Tube, try and pin somebody down, but again, with the weapon advantage, I mean, particularly Elite, able to just play distant, well, play range, I guess. Shutting his threat down. I was going to see, actually, yeah, going to round things out with Stingers, but I might even get a similar walkout B main here from the pistol.
Yeah, and I'm liking
flash as well.
I'm liking it. I love a proactive approach to this. If you're on the bonus, try and make something happen. Incredibly authoritative start as well. Going to post up at least one, push them down deep towards B. But the reactions here, Liquid instantly up middle. Kiko's taken away Sadak, and he's off to the races. Sugetsu, he's going to hit. It doesn't matter if you hear the steps. Kiko clean with it. He has done his job here. Liquid right up the guts. Mike, I thought it was a one-off in that last round. It looks like they found the approach they want. Kiko finally dealt with, but a 4v2 is a lot to ask for with Martine only on 5 HP.
Yep. And that should be rewarded for his patience here. Absolutely is. Like you said, Martine, just a lick of HP left. Spike obviously planted regardless, and that's the one to close things out with 3. I love this though, like I said, almost being a little unorthodox in round 2 to try and pin somebody down on a lesser purchase, but again, I don't think Casey ever expected them on the buy round to come back through with almost a carbon copy of the previous.
Nailed.
Kiko really the one to, spin down Sadak here. Again, almost caught in numbers. You see on the replay there, it's almost like the jump to almost like, he's got me banged to rights here.
Really impressive stuff. And look, I've loved the resurgence of seeing some return of the Jets, right? I've been obviously watching America's, seeing Yay kind of picking that back up. What a beautiful treat that was. But right now, Kiko could be on for a heat. Sugetsu, I felt I was a little, overconfident, really, considering how much value you can bring here, putting others in a really uncomfortable spot. Tricky to hold, going to be forced away. Actually fights forwards. I think that was the wrong call. And the pace coming out from Nats is outrageous. 4 for him. I thought it was a Kiko round not to be. It's Nats instead. And for Martine, this is precious cargo, man. You don't want to give this up.
And the fun's not looking too comfortable. It's only really Arvez and Sugetsu in a comfortable purchase position behind this. I think Nats probably wants this ace, though. Martine's got a hell of a lot of time to buy here. Yeah, it's Nats on the hunt. Serial close by, but by the time this spike's going to go off, he should potentially hear the drop here. I'm not sure of the range exactly or where Nats is going to drop off. That's using the rope here, so silent cross. He's hungry for the ace, Lauren.
Yeah, man. Give it to him. Let's go, Nats. Come on. Find him.
Well, he's going to know now.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
It's
an NT. It's an NT. But look, if we're going to talk... seriously
I was going to say,
here.
just
Go ahead,
quickly,
go ahead.
whose flash was that was caught on? Because I looked straight towards the assist in the kill feed, but I'm not sure I actually spotted an assist coming through from Pujangga. Obviously, the kill comes through on Sugetsu. Yeah, it's the flash through here, yeah.
Wow.
That flash just bounces above, and as the wall drops, yeah, Aves gets caught by it.
God.
I was really confused there whether or
Yeah,
not
like,
when it had gone off and when yeah.
Assists? Oh, Kiko, quick pace here. I'll come back to my point in a moment once we see this round wrap up, because Aves is once again being tested in middle, but it's mostly by Natsu with the Kiko on the backup. But again, the
Oh, he's
confidence
looking
is sky
sharp.
high. Oh my God,
He's looking
Nats.
sharp.
Okay, the conversation I will have will be echoed in this round because it makes sense now. You're seeing everyone swing with full confidence. Be it FPS, be it being back on those LAN servers, it is working. These guys are coming in gunning. It genuinely makes a big difference here. And now Sadak and Sugetsu, though, a 2v3 is very much in the realms of reality, but Sugetsu quite far from this. Walking into the unknown, a tricky spot here. Camo to the left, Palitek to the right, and you got that deep post-plant hold as well.
Awkward angle here.
Yeah, but the barrel's shown. Camo laps that one up and closes it down. But genuinely, Mike, I feel like, again, I hate sounding like a dirty little shill in this sort of situation. but I mean, people are swinging when they aim into it. Like, let's be real.
This is like one of those things. It's like you're 120 FPS versus 500.
Literally.
Nats is like playing on like it feels like just 10 tick. He's
Nice.
literally
Good job.
wired to the
100%.
primary source.
I don't know how you're killing him.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
actually
That's
kinda
interesting.
wild.
Actually, Geeko's last Jet game was in 2024 on Haven.
Jeez.
So it's a long
Been a
time
minute.
coming, but I mean the comfort level's still there for sure.
Oh my
Well,
God, again though,
there you go.
Sugetsu. Like, he's being caught twice now. Maybe not as far out in that regard,
Well, at
but
least.
he's...
Well, it doesn't matter.
though.
It doesn't matter.
What has gone into these Liquid players? They're fighting everything. Okay, maybe Serio's not on the same sort of setup. You know what I mean? Maybe I don't know. But everyone else, bang on.
Serial still routed through Frankfurt, unfortunately.
He's on that Paris server.
Yeah.
bro. But genuinely, with this ult in play,
Yeah,
Round's
I mean,
pretty
locked it down.
done.
Yeah, Aves tagged down to 45. Obviously, he's still got Sadak and Martin here, but you can see on the minimap, no intention at all. Probably a little bit of a sucker punch, maybe taking the wind out of KC initially, because a good start, and now TL have flipped 4 rounds. Yeah, well, and what feels like very quickly, in a blink of an eye, they've got themselves up to 4. Eco on the hunt still. No benefit to this particularly, but probably wanted to apply a little further pressure towards the finances. Liquid looking very comfortable. Had the Blade Storm to offset that also. Like they can throw a couple of bodies in here. See whether or not actually we see an early timeout. Because again, how quickly this is, I don't want to say spiraled out of control, but being flipped on its head from what felt like a very comfortable first 2 rounds from KC. I mean, the precision now, I mean, it's beautifully executed for Kiko, or to set Kiko in motion towards B. And a few times, you know, yes, Sugetsu maybe not respecting a double flash comp with a Jet, right? That distance becomes very small when you when you have a double flash and Kiko can get up in your face that quickly.
And you're right, yeah. I guess when did we last have to consider? You know, you got the Gecko coming in, you got that flash to follow as well from Padatek, and in the mind of Padatek, this is one of his more comfortable agents too. He's a very solid player with that. So, oh my, what?
Well,
Aves
digs
4x3
Aves
or
out,
just chilling?
yeah.
Okay, Martin though, all tag and no frag.
Oh,
right
no.
now. That's devastating.
You can see the frustration as well immediately on the player cam. And I
That's
think just
gutting.
there where Martin's drifted back a little deeper to put a smoke down, I think cross map because he's looking the other direction. Maybe Aves is caught off guard there from a lower angle. Again, I'd have to see what that setup looks like, you know, without having to put the smoke elsewhere. Maybe a miscom could be. But yeah, Liquid looking fierce, to be honest with you,
Like,
after
that's-
dropping the first 2. And
Yeah.
it's
They
the
come swinging, man.
it's the comfort that stands out.
Yeah.
Again, aim looking very, very crispy. And again, the confidence to kind of, okay, I mean, to come back to the composition as well. Just to have like the layered flashes so quickly in a double flash comp. That's why we're seeing Sugetsu and Sadak previously getting shut down kind of
Yeah.
off rip.
Yeah, I want to
there,
see that
Sugetsu
replay as
calls.
well. Yeah, I want to.
Yeah,
it might be gun
mean,
model. It could be ADS. There's a lot of reasons that it could have happened potentially, but it does feel bizarre, right?
I mean, in that position, you're almost feeling like Aves is up looking towards belt, and you got to argue Martin's probably holding close under. Oh,
It kind of bit of everything, actually.
yeah, a bit of everything, yeah. And then, unfortunately, Martin gets his ankles broken by Patitek.
Wild.
Oh my god.
Party tech. The mouse.
Okay, we do have a team timeout. The team.
A regular timeout. I mean, yeah, I was wondering when it was going to come. Obviously, this is going to be an opportunity for KC to buy back in. Very comfortable in the ultimates. I mean, ultimates haven't been a factor in this map so far, to be honest with you. We saw the Vipers bit in a post plant, but Liquid haven't really had to rely on it. This has been very almost cut and dry in terms of the victories here. On the other side of these, KC haven't got themselves into a position to maybe put some of these ultimates in motion already.
Yeah.
And it just had the tablecloth pulled out from underneath them, to be honest with you, in a few of these round starts.
I think it's just that it needs that mentality shift as well, especially when we're seeing, again, you can prep for what you can expect coming, but we haven't seen great deals of Liquid on this map. What was it? The Waylay against Gentlemates.
Sure, yeah.
Was the only real example they could really prep for, but it needs to adjust now.
The scoreline aside, it's the big change here was obviously coming back to the double flash. This is to put Kiko in motion and play very aggressively, which, again, if it's a new comp, you weren't expecting it, can catch you off guard. Now, after the timeout, you're almost hoping for an adjustment of sorts from KC. Maybe don't commit towards these opening engagements, but Kiko looking to maybe dig a little deeper here with the Blade Storm. Nats immediately
this lurk,
up mid.
man.
He's hit so fast, Lauren.
It's vintage, and they're succeeding on the site as well. It's like that double insult to injury almost. You've got Nats now got a nice bit of angle for pressure, but Martin very heads up, maybe even noted by Sadak. And Elite's still firing off. They found a bit of a rhythm that's working now. Elite doesn't need to hold too deep on this. He can play from the back of the site. He's got support here, but Kiko's deadly. Not today. Good trade. And down to a 2v3. Hold on. Patitek not going to land the shot, leaving just Camo alive. And with Aves to get to Martin, they found something that works there.
Great response, actually, from KC after initially was it Sadak falls and then ult command. He was actually just, they don't even go for the res, just waiting for a couple more members of Liquid maybe to come forward, and they're policing that area. Great work from KC, actually, to turn things round. Was it Serial that stepped up ahead of the wall as well, behind that?
Yep.
Again, with nobody kind of progressing further onto site, they're able to kind of anticipate Nats's lurk as well. Martin's waiting for it.
Quite loud.
Yeah, I hate to say it again, but I'm trying to gauge where the replays are coming through, obviously being remote today. The old things that used to catch us off guard.
Hold on. This is another test for Sugetsu. He's had a... Yeah! Again! What a frustrating game for him. He's tried to play up close. He's tried to be aggressive. He's tried to play passive, but Sadak finds some room to work. That's not bad. But now Patitek's trading him out, so we're back down to a 3v3, and you look at the space that's been given. Yeah?
Spike's lost, but Serial was in their spawn.
Yes, he is.
Inside the 30-second mark.
Right. Now,
Actually,
lockdown.
Killjoy, yeah, but
Kind of good. Kind of buys time.
It does, but again, when do they... This is a bait from Patitek, potentially.
Come on, Nats, lock in, buddy. Lock in, buddy. Put his life on the line for you. Oh. And now the absence of presence. All eyes look to the other side, right? It becomes super obvious. Serial, that's a 1v3 you got to work out, and it ain't happening. What a reaction from KC, though, Mike, because they were in a bit of a drought. A couple of rounds here, they'd been struggling, and even kind of repetition hitting there in the form of Sugetsu being outdone again by that early pressure, but bailed out.
My eyes go towards exactly what the setup is at the start of these rounds now, because immediately after Sugetsu falls, we see Sadak set up behind the wall with a flash, like ready with it.
Ready.
And again, whether or not Sugetsu just needs to... I don't want to say, you know, give it a little more respect, but just play a little deeper. If the plan is to have both in tube there, that angle tends to favor whoever's walking up tube, but Kiko slipped back towards Snowman. Aves now going to try and pave the way. Careful here. Kiko's going to be shut down behind the wall effectively once it does go up, but he's looking to get aggressive, rewarded, but the trade comes through.
The number of players still here is pretty rough to find a way out of. And you look at the post plant, you look at util Abbas. How far off the util are we? How long until those salvos are back online? That's going to be a factor coming in. Actually quite a way off, but has ult. So sitting there, what looks like a Zippo in hand. Stressful day. So ult in. That's the time buyer. I don't know how they're going to try and get around these players. You look at the util now, starting to run a little low on this. Palitek does well. And I mean, Camo got to shoulder the angle, right? To getting his revenge with 4 good kills. And a good step for KC, who've looked far more comfortable on this side.
Yeah, double digits now. Like I said previously, Liquid did struggle conceding their defensive half 8-4 to Gentlemates. Already now, 5-0 deficit here in the second half. It's the bold play from Martin to try and catch somebody off guard on B main, but I really think that's a factor.
If anyone ever tells me my mic's bad,
Yeah.
that. Oh, your mic's peaking a bit. Well,
Wow.
Alves. Alves Maria.
Do you reckon we can get those noise gate settings?
Yeah, I need that for my GoXLR real quick. Okay, timeout for Liquid because, hey, it's been a run. Casey have been looking kind of good.
Yeah, well, it's pretty awkward now. A few of these ultimates coming online. Kiko and Nat's going to have the Pit and the Bladestorm available, but no purchase here. It's looking like KC will find 11, and KC on the other side of things, very comfortable to buy out the next 3, potentially 4 rounds, even if Liquid claw back into this. So, yeah, this is actually a really awkward point here. Probably why we do see the timeout come through. So looking towards the buy round to follow this, Lauren.
All right. Well, we're going to need something. All good and well for one half. Need a holistic answer, I guess, if you want to say it in a weird way. Hiko? Are you the one to do it?
Well,
The answer so far is no.
no. As the Bladestorm disabled for a minute there, and yeah, I guess a clear indicator to KC that, again, where that knife is placed, that already there's been some progress made. Kiko doesn't burn the dash to try and chase that kill down. I think it's wise, considering on the minimap there's a few more bodies for KC stacked behind that.
Being a stack, here they are, all towards middle. The slow and steady progress from KC towards the A site might need to be kicked up a bit.
You know, now that the utility's removed from the flank, you'd hope somebody's going to turn eventually. Steps will be heard now. KC will find themselves up towards A site. Again, noted because of the knife in return, but Pit as well, actually on top of this from Heaven.
Ooh. Yeah, the Pit coming in might help. The helper's gone. No helpers here. Camo and Nats. Try and make the best of a bad situation, really. Try and maybe get a kill or 2 if you can. Oh, little feeties.
TTs.
I hate the way we both said feeties.
Yeah, in sync as well.
Yeah, get me out. An in-zone flawless here. KC, look, they've taken charge of this half. There's only so many ways I can keep saying the same thing. This is very much in their hands. They are running this perfectly. And I was a bit worried. That defending side initially,
it's a stark contrast in approach for Liquid. You could argue the finances haven't been there, but we haven't seen the same sort of set pieces to open some of these rounds up that they found success on in the first half. Whether or not that is a little bit of fear that, you know, there's no duelist, KC are going to play a little deeper, a little safer, but we've just not seen the same approach from Liquid to...
Kiko, though.
And again, he's not finding the same individual success, whether it be around the composition benefits, but certainly individually he's not being rewarded for some of these plays now.
And again, the stat highlighted it earlier. It's been a minute since he's been on that jet. Also, apart from very few specific players, I'm putting Ye up there and maybe a few others, but the Jets these days, you look only have to look towards the likes of Durka, who struggled to find its impact on it. It feels, I don't say readable, but repetitive. And teams are used to it now. I don't think you're going to get that same level of impact, especially if Kiko can't get that rhythm right. And at the moment, playing up by Ness just simply isn't really doing it. Drone just to keep some minds turned towards A, but I think we can tell where this is heading.
Yeah, Nats will be potentially tested here once again. But having said that, a few members of KC are going to
30 seconds left.
drift back towards A site actually, and now it's just
Double
Camo,
fake.
who's down to 71 HP already. No util left. Malik good for the first. Oh, he's actually going to get that close and personal.
I like it. You got to try and make something happen. Buys time, slows them down. Barrel, bye-bye. Camo does wonders. That's sort of dreamy for him. He was already down low. He was tested on his own, and the timing on the walk, it's stunning. Camo, he's got to be proud of that one. That's got to be a feel-good moment. First shot, lovely. The dip into the smoke. Even at worst, let's say he maybe gets traded or he goes down. At that point, he's bought a little bit more time. Get those rotations in. Marvelous work from him.
One of the situations where he really toys with the expectations after. Again, he's probably identified very quickly there. It's the anchor. Let's look to kind of overwhelm him. But plays around that smoke perfectly.
Nice.
Camille.
Let's go. Let's come back
But I
to this
wouldn't
game.
say I'm all that worried yet overall, right? I still feel KC are very much in control. That was a Camo bailout round. You may get one of those, maybe you get two, but you are still sitting at 11-8, and KC is still firmly controlling this game. Now that's a good tag early on too. Patatek down to only 36.
Rough will obviously be rewarded for the info, but not really much that Liquid can act upon. And KC maybe feel like they've got a identified some point of weakness here. Different setup this time around though. Camo's up high and Patatek's down low now. No command available.
You should run.
Serial and Camo both have their ultimates as well, but yeah, Camo overwhelmed.
Oh, that's rough for him. From 0 to 0 pretty much, as KC should have done enough to be able to get that plant down. There it is, yeah, now into the post plant. And look at the positioning already, just tucked down below. Martin holding that out.
Ooh,
Viper's pit on top.
I mean, they've got the lockdown to potentially cancel out the pit as well. And they're going to do so, yeah. I mean, invested in pretty much everything here, but Martin unnoted as of yet.
Others still has his util as well. He needs to play as safe as he can. Nats is trying to do everything possible. Fighting two in this round is already big. He's going to send those salvos flying. Now they've got to put bodies behind this. It's worked out. Serial goes down. Sugetsu and Illy, I mean, it was a team effort. Look at the assists on this. But it's enough to push KC up to 12. Liquid put everything they had into that one pretty much, Mike, it felt like. That was the, you know, the trump card, same to be said almost for KC. That was the big round. And now Liquid are going to be left floundering. Money's not good. Ults are burned.
Money's awful.
I mean, they still have camos, but that's it.
I was going to say, actually, coming out of it, I mean, Patatek's going to struggle, yeah, but even to get the third rifle on, it's a Sheriff for Nats. But only got Camo's ultimate to carry away. And yeah, you can't really argue with the investment there. They have to make something work. Especially with the bankroll that we talked about KC establishing. They were already going to be very comfortable to play out a few scrappy rounds. Happy to, you know, trade back and forth with Liquid because it suits them.
And for those playing along at home, this will extend play to an additional map. However, Nats kind of likes this one. Doesn't hey, it was a nice try.
Flash caught.
He deserves a little bit of a dice roll in his favor once in a while. It was rough on that side of the map. Now we do get into the post plant, and KC once again bigger weaponry. Util on the post plant, but Camo with the mosh getting that. Fair enough. Sugetsu goes down. His luck continues.
Okay.
And Arbe's last one alive here. He's been hunted down by just about everything. Serial, if anything, puts him out of his misery. As Liquid hold on for another.
Yeah, I did see Sugetsu's HP just before that, but I know he was tagged up. I don't know if he was kind of sub 50 HP, but immediately falling. A line up from Camo. I didn't even see where Camo was positioned. Actually, I assume it was just behind default. Let's see, Diffuse will come through. Liquid up to 9 now. 3 survives, so that's kind of what you want to look for when we're building back in financial to actually all the way from spawn. It's just the up and over, but oh yeah, he's down at 6 HP. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing to be done, really, is there? Okay, not done yet. What do you reckon, Mike? We get all the rounds, all the OTs, all the maps?
I'm ready for it. I'm in a chair that doesn't recline. I'm ready for it.
Oh, here we go, folks. It could be on for an absolute mad one today. And the buy is now back in hand for Liquid. No big ults to bank on. Closest is really Nats. Beyond that, Aves still has his. Sadak one away from his. Oh, and Serial. This is a tough bit of timing, but actually Aves goes down here. Tsugetsu just threading the needle on that. Serial had no idea.
I feel like he's almost caught that wallbang through the turret when he tried to shoot it. Serial kicking himself there.
A man up at this
3v5,
point,
sorry, 3v4, sorry. Can't even count.
Yeah, it's tough. Oh, Kiko. If they come back around, I don't know which way. I guess they're just going to group and go B together. So this what puts it in towards Camo and Patatek's hands. They have good util here on this side of the map as well to slow this down. For the attacking side, very well situated too. This is... For all the marbles, still a bit paranoid about yellow. Fair enough. Got the knife. Potentially clear, should do.
I was going to say, Camo's looking to potentially challenge. That's a big kill. No command gone.
Yeah, he knows his lines here.
30 seconds
Does
left.
find one, still unsure of further presence. Obviously, you can see how obstructed the vision is. Plants in play though now. And Sugetsu's played a little further forward. Catching Patatek just trying to hold that line.
Kiko's
no
got
Camo's nearby.
You've got a lot of ground to cover, and
Player standing.
again, Camo just way ahead of the curve here. Maybe feeling a little desperate or feeling as if he's got the advantage to isolate a player, but puts Kiko in a rough spot, a 1v3 to extend the map.
Yeah, good luck, Kiko. All on you. One close towards yellow, two up high. A brutal crossfire to dismantle, and he doesn't even get the chance. 13-9. KC picking up, really, map 2 here. So we will be going to the third, of course. Which
We're going
Lotus
somewhere.
Mike.
We're going somewhere.
Now, where we go, who knows? It's a mystery. No, we are going to Lotus next. That'll be coming up in just a moment's time. We'll be back with the desk. So let's head over towards the break first, and then we'll be back with them.
Just waiting for the defuse to come on through, the time ticking down. All you need to find is one headshot. Might just be able to clock this one out and send them to the grand final.
It's all left on Vanya's shoulders.
There's one way to do it. That is the way to do it.
Ruin your vibe, no time for rumination. Let's leave it all behind. Take a flight, aviation. Want you, girl, by my side. Let me show my appreciation. I want you here with me. I miss your body, baby. No, I cannot believe that you're still single, lady. Wishing I could retreat. I want you here with me. Be my lover, be my, be my, be my, be my Jovi, be my, be my, be my, be my woman, be my lover, be my Jovi, be my, be my, be my, the only one I want. Be my preliminary. Let me caress the way I think it's necessary. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, babe. 7 days, are you ready? I don't need to say you know it, girl, you're extraordinary. I want you here with me. I miss your body,
team manages to get that win on Icebox, bringing us to a 1-1. But hey, they get the first map win of the day, enjoying some healthy snacks. It's a very nice day in Berlin. Nats is always enjoying some healthy snacks. But beautiful way to perform in their map pick. We had so many questions coming into today with the